His name was Ethan. He wasn't loud or flashy. He just sat there, quiet, with dark hair falling over his eyes, drawing in a notebook. He didn't look up when I walked in. Most guys would have. I'm not trying to be full of myself, but I knew the look. I'd seen it a million times. But Ethan? He just kept drawing. And that, for some ridiculous reason, made me want him to look up. My best friend, well, my best friend since kindergarten, was Leo. Leo was the opposite of quiet. Leo was sunshine in human form. He was loud, he was funny, he made everyone feel like they were his best friend. He was the guy who'd do a stupid dance in the cafeteria just to make you laugh when you were having a bad day. We'd been through everything together. Scraped knees, failed tests, his parents' divorce, my first heartbreak over a guy who didn't deserve a second of my tears. Leo was my person, my safe place, the one person I never had to pretend with. So, naturally, I went and sat next to him. He was telling a story about his summer job at a water park, something involving a very angry goose and a lost child, and I was already laughing. Then, Mr. Harrison called for attention and introduced the new student. "Class, this is Ethan. He just moved here from Chicago. Let's make him feel welcome." Ethan finally looked up. He gave a tiny nod, his eyes scanning the room. They passed over me and Leo, and for a second, they stopped. I felt a little jolt, like static electricity. Then he looked away. Leo leaned over. "Chicago? Cool. Wonder why he moved here. Witness protection? Probably. He's got that mysterious vibe." I laughed and shoved him. "You're an idiot." But Leo was right. He did have a mysterious vibe. And that vibe, that quiet stillness, was like a magnet. It started small. We had a project in history class, and by some weird twist of fate, I got paired with Ethan. At first, it was awkward. He'd answer in one-word sentences. I'd do all the talking. But then, we had to meet at the library after school to work on it. Leo had football practice, so I was on my own. Ethan was already there, at a table in the back, surrounded by books. He had his headphones on. I tapped him on the shoulder. He jumped, almost knocking over a stack of books. It was kind of cute. "Sorry," I whispered. "Didn't mean to scare you." He pulled his headphones down, letting them rest around his neck. A faint sound of some sad, acoustic music came out. "No, it's fine." I was just in my own world. "That's a good place to be," sometimes I said, sitting down. We worked for an hour, and slowly, the walls came down. He wasn't quiet because he was rude. He was quiet because he was thinking. He was watching. He noticed things. He pointed out a detail in a photograph in one of the history books that I would have completely missed. He had a dry sense of humor that was so understated it took me a second to get it, but when I did, it was the funniest thing in the world. "So, Chicago," I said, as we were packing up. "Why the move to boring old Maple Creek?" He shrugged. "My mom got a job here. A teaching job. At the elementary school." He paused. It was time for a change. "Too many memories there." "Bad memories?" I asked gently. "Complicated ones," he said. He looked at me then, really looked at me. His eyes were a deep, warm brown. "What about you? What's your story, Laura?" My story. It felt so simple compared to his. I told him about my mom, my dad, my annoying little brother, my dream to go to art school in the city. I told him about Leo and how we'd been friends forever. When I said Leo's name, he smiled a little. "He's the funny one, right? The guy you sit with in English." "Yeah, that's Leo. He's a lot. But he's the best." "He's lucky," Ethan said, so quietly I almost didn't hear him. My heart did a little flip. "What do you mean?" "To have someone who talks about him like that." He picked up his bag. "See you tomorrow, Laura." And he was gone. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. I replayed the conversation in my head. "He's lucky." What did that mean? It was just a nice thing to say, right? But it felt like more. It felt like a key turning in a lock. The next day, everything shifted. Leo was waiting for me by my locker, as always. He was holding 2 coffees from the cafe. 1 vanilla latte for my favorite person in the whole world. He handed it to me, and for the first time in forever, I felt a little uncomfortable. It was such a Leo thing to do, so sweet and thoughtful. Why did it feel different? I shook it off. It was just Leo. Thanks, you're a lifesaver, I said, taking a sip. So, how was the library nerd fest with the new guy? He asked, bumping my shoulder with his. It was fine. He's actually really interesting. Super smart. Leo raised an eyebrow. Interesting, huh? That's a new word for you. Usually, you just say boring or weird. I felt my cheeks get warm. Well, he's not boring. He's just quiet. Quiet and mysterious. Got it. Leo's smile was easy, but I saw a flicker of something in his eyes for a second. It was gone before I could figure out what it was. Well, anyway, movie at my place on Friday? My mom's making her famous nachos. Of course. Wouldn't miss it. The week went on like that. In class, I was acutely aware of where Ethan was sitting. I'd catch myself glancing over my shoulder. One time, I did it and he was already looking at me. He didn't look away either. He just gave me a small, shy smile. I felt like I was blushing from my toes to the top of my head. I started finding excuses to talk to him. I'd ask him about the history homework, even though I understood it perfectly. I'd comment on the book he was reading. He was always reading. He introduced me to poets I'd never heard of, and we'd sit on the steps outside the school, and he'd read a line to me and we'd talk about what it meant. It felt intimate, like we were sharing secrets. Then, one afternoon, Leo found us there. He came bounding over, football under his arm, sweaty and grinning. Hey, you two. Hiding out? I jumped a little, like I'd been caught doing something wrong. Leo. Hi. We were just talking. About what? He asked, plopping down next to me on the step. He was so close, his knee touching mine. It was familiar. Normal. Poetry, Ethan said. Leo snorted. Poetry? Like rhymes and stuff? Roses are red, violets are blue. He tried to make a funny, serious face. The football is brown and I'm better than you? I groaned. Leo, stop. But Ethan laughed. A real laugh. Something like that. Leo grinned, pleased with himself. Well, sorry to break up the poetry club, but I need to borrow Laura. Mom's making dinner and she wants to see you. She says she misses her second daughter. I looked at Ethan. I'll see you tomorrow? He nodded. Sure. See you. As Leo pulled me away, he slung an arm around my shoulder. So, poetry, huh? You're getting all cultured on me. Shut up, I said, but I laughed. It was easy with Leo. It was always easy. But as I looked back over my shoulder, I saw Ethan still sitting there alone, watching us walk away. And that easy, comfortable feeling with Leo suddenly felt a little heavy. Friday night at Leo's was the same as always. His mom, who I loved, made the nachos. We sprawled on the huge, worn-out couch in their basement and picked a movie. But I couldn't focus. My mind kept drifting to Ethan. I wondered what he was doing. If he was lonely. If he was drawing in that notebook of his. Earth to Laura, Leo said, waving a hand in front of my face. You've been staring at the popcorn bowl for 10 minutes. Is it that interesting? Sorry, I said, forcing a smile. Just tired. Tired, or thinking about a certain quiet, mysterious guy? My stomach dropped. What? No. I was thinking about the history project. Laura. Leo's voice was soft. He put the popcorn bowl on the table and turned to face me. The TV light flickered on his face, making his expression hard to read. I've known you my whole life. I can tell when you're lying. I couldn't look at him. I stared at my hands. I'm not lying. You like him. The words hung in the air between us. A simple statement that changed everything. Leo, he's just a friend. Is he? Leo asked. He didn't sound angry. He just sounded sad. Because I see the way you look at him. It's different. You've never looked at anyone like that. Not even Mark Thompson in the 9th grade when you swore you were in love. I finally looked up. His eyes, usually so full of laughter, were serious. And in that moment, I saw something else in them. Something I had never, in all our years of friendship, seen before. It looked a lot like heartbreak. My mind was racing. No, this was Leo. My Leo. We were best friends. That's all we were. That's all we'd ever been. Leo. I started, not knowing what I was going to say. He held up a hand to stop me. Don't say anything. It's fine. I'm happy for you. He forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. He seems like a good guy. Leo, please. He picked the popcorn bowl back up and stared at the TV. Just watch the movie, Laura. Forget it. But I couldn't forget it. The rest of the movie was a blur. I sat there, frozen, next to my best friend, feeling the entire foundation of my world crack. He liked me. Leo liked me. And I had been so blind, so caught up in the new, shiny mystery of Ethan, that I hadn't seen what was right in front of me my whole life. The next few weeks were a minefield. I tried to act normal, but nothing was normal. Leo was still Leo, cracking jokes, being there, but there was a new wall between us. A careful distance. He stopped touching me as much. The casual arm around the shoulder, the playful shoves, they faded away. And Ethan. Ethan became my refuge. With him, it was simple. It was new. We'd find quiet corners of the library, the empty art room after school. He showed me his sketchbook. It was full of incredible drawings. Birds, trees, faces. And then I saw a page filled with sketches of a girl. A girl with long hair laughing. A girl reading a book. A girl looking out a window. It was me. Ethan, I breathed. He looked embarrassed, closing the book. Sorry. You're interesting to draw. You have a lot of light in your face. Don't apologize, I said, my voice barely a whisper. They're beautiful. He leaned forward, and for a terrifying, wonderful second, I thought he was going to kiss me. But he just tucked a piece of hair behind my ear. His fingers lingered on my cheek for a moment. Laura, he said, my name sounding like a secret on his lips. And I knew. I was in trouble. Deep trouble. One afternoon, I was supposed to meet Ethan in the art room. He had a new drawing he wanted to show me. But on my way there, I ran into Leo. He was sitting alone on a bench near the gym, his head in his hands. Leo? I said, stopping. Are you okay? He looked up. His eyes were red. Hey, Laura. I sat down next to him, all thoughts of Ethan vanishing. What's wrong? What happened? My mom, he said, his voice cracking. She's moving. To California. With her new husband. She wants me to go with her for the summer. Maybe for good. She got a job offer there. My heart clenched. Leo, no. He shrugged, a miserable, hopeless gesture. She's my mom. I have to think about it. But everything's a mess here too, so maybe it's for the best. I knew he wasn't just talking about his parents. He was talking about us. The crack in my world split wide open. In that moment, sitting there with Leo, seeing him so broken, the truth hit me with the force of a wave. It wasn't just Leo who was in love. I loved him too. Not the new, exciting, breathless feeling I had with Ethan. Something deeper. Something that was woven into the fabric of who I was. He was my history. He was my home. And he was about to leave. Without thinking, I reached out and took his hand. He looked at me surprised. Don't go, I whispered. Please. I don't know what I'd do without you. His hand tightened around mine. Laura, what about Ethan? I thought of Ethan. Of his quiet eyes and his beautiful drawings. Of the poetry and the secret smiles. It felt like a beautiful, fragile dream. And this messy, painful, real moment with Leo, this was my life. I don't know, I said honestly. The tears were starting to come. I don't know anything anymore, except that I can't lose you. Leo pulled me into a hug, the first real hug we'd had in weeks. I buried my face in his shoulder and cried. I cried for the mess I'd made, for the confusion in my heart, for the fear of losing my best friend. I never made it to the art room. The next day at school, Ethan found me. His face was pale. I waited for you, he said. It wasn't accusatory. It was just a fact. I know, I said. I'm so sorry. Something came up. A family thing with Leo. He nodded slowly. Leo. He said the name like he understood everything. Is he okay? I hesitated. I don't know. His mom might be moving. He might move with her. We stood there in the hallway, people streaming past us, oblivious. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. He wasn't just seeing me, he was reading me. And whatever he saw made his shoulders drop. "You love him," he said. Again, not a question. My throat closed up. I couldn't deny it. Not anymore. "Ethan, It's okay," he said, and his voice was so gentle it broke my heart all over again. "I saw it. That day on the steps. The way you fit together. The way you laughed. It was real. It was easy." He gave me a sad smile. "What we had, it was new. It was exciting. But it wasn't easy. And I think, with you, easy is what matters." Tears streamed down my face. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean to hurt you." "I know," he said. "That's the thing about you, Laura. You never mean to hurt anyone. You just have a big heart, and sometimes it gets confused." He reached out and wiped a tear from my cheek with his thumb. "Don't cry. It's okay. Go. Go find him." "What about you?" I whispered. He shrugged, that familiar, quiet gesture. "I'll be okay. I'm good at being on my own. And I got to know you. That was worth it." He turned and walked away. I watched him go, my heart feeling like it was being torn in two. I had lost something beautiful, something that could have been. But I knew, with a certainty that went beyond logic, that I had to go and fight for the thing that had always been there. I found Leo by his locker. He was slowly taking things out, his movements heavy. He looked up when he saw me. "Laura." I walked right up to him, my heart pounding. "Don't move to California. Laura, it's complicated." "My mom." "Forget your mom for a second," I said, my voice shaking. "What about us? What about me?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "You have Ethan." "I don't," I said. "I ended it." Or, he ended it. For me. He saw what I couldn't see. I took a deep breath. "Leo, I've been an idiot. A complete and total idiot. I got swept up in something shiny and new, and I forgot to look at what was already there. Something real. Something that's been there my whole life. Laura." His voice was a whisper. "I love you, Leo," I said. The words tumbled out, messy and desperate. "Not as a friend. I love you. I think I've always loved you. And the thought of you leaving, it feels like losing a part of myself. Please, give me a chance to figure this out. Give us a chance." He stared at me. The hallway was empty now. The last bell had rung. It was just us. He took a step closer. "What about Ethan?" "He's gone," I said. "And I'm heartbroken about it. I really am. But the thought of you being gone is worse. So much worse." He reached out and took my face in his hands, just like he'd done 1,000 times before, but this time it was different. This time, his thumbs gently brushed my cheeks, and his eyes were full of a love he'd been hiding for so long. "I was going to tell you," he whispered. "So many times. But I was scared. Scared of ruining what we had." "You almost lost it anyway," I said, a tearful laugh escaping me. He smiled, that familiar, sunshine smile that could light up the whole world. "I'm not going anywhere." And then he kissed me. It wasn't like the movie kisses I'd imagined. It was better. It was warm and familiar and new all at once. It tasted like salt from my tears and like home. The next few months were a journey. A healing. Leo's mom did move, but he decided to stay with his dad. We had to navigate this new, fragile thing between us. We had to learn how to be boyfriend and girlfriend after being best friends for so long. It wasn't always easy. There were awkward moments, fights, times when we both felt lost. We had to build a new kind of relationship on top of the old foundation. And Ethan. Ethan became a ghost. He finished the school year, but he kept to himself. We never spoke again, not really. A polite nod in the hallway. That was it. I heard he and his mom moved again at the end of the year. Back to Chicago or maybe somewhere new. I hope he found his peace. I hope he found someone who could give him the easy, simple love he deserved. I still think about him sometimes. When I hear a sad song or when I see a guy with dark hair sketching in a notebook. He was a beautiful chapter in my life. A chapter that taught me that love isn't always a lightning bolt. Sometimes it's the steady, warm sunshine that's been there all along. You just forgot to look up. And now, Leo and I are sitting on the porch of our tiny apartment. We're not in high school anymore. We made it Through college, through the hard years, through everything. He's telling a story about a guy at his work who tried to microwave an egg and it exploded. He's laughing, his head thrown back, and I'm watching him, thinking that his laughter is still my favorite sound in the world. He catches me staring. "What?" "Nothing," I say, leaning my head on his shoulder. "Just happy." He kisses the top of my head. "Me too." And that's it. That's the story. It's messy and complicated and full of heartbreak, but it's ours. And in the end, we found our way back to each other. We found our way home.